Apartments are the ghetto. All right, let's go. All right. Let's do this shit. Welcome, folks, to my channel. This is Nelson, aka Vision First, aka Ty Eastside on TikTok, aka Upcycle Pisces on Twitter. Yeah, I got all the acronyms, aka Lewis Rich, aka Pillsbury Dope. Shout out to Riley from the Boondocks. But nah, this is my anime channel, Anime Vision. So what we're gonna be doing here, you know, again, welcome. Like, thank you for showing up and being part of this. What we're gonna be doing is talking about anime, of course. So it's gonna be anime from my perspective, and ones that I like. I'll have reviews, discussion videos, those types of things going on. And yeah, so this is the beginning of that, and we are going to be starting today with drum roll, please. Something that is very near and dear to my heart. In my opinion, one of, if not the greatest anime of all time. Actually, yeah, in my opinion, the greatest anime of all time. God, thank you, Oda. But he's not dead. But thank you, Oda. Yeah, like One Piece has been adapted into a live-action Netflix show, and man, yo, just first thoughts. Not disappointed at all. Like, greatly exceeded expectations. I know that there are so many poorly done, or, you know, subpar, whatever, live action anime adaptations that just haven't gone over well. Have kind of left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths about these. And this is actually one of the reasons why I'm so excited for this one, aside from it just being One Piece. Like, I feel like it really, made strides. Like, haven't seen the entire thing already. I woke up at 2 a.m. when it was available for me in Central Time, US. Yeah, like, watched the whole thing with like a short little nap in the middle. But yeah, like, man, wonderful stuff. Can't wait to get into it and talk to y'all about it. So yeah, let's get into this thing. So what I want to say before we really get off into the review and everything, for the fans of the manga and the anime, if you are already, don't get me wrong, I'm one of y'all. We are Straw Hat Crew. We are Straw Hat Gang, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? I'm here, you know? But look, man, understand that this is not, this is a new thing, you know? This is something that has brought the world of One Piece into the eyes of many more people than were probably originally interested in it, things like that. It may be people that don't even watch anime, don't read manga. So, you know, I am going to be doing at least this video series. There will be other stuff that I'll do that's, you know, more geared toward the people who are like heavier into the culture. But yeah, like for this is kind of like a, it's a cross between like a in-depth analysis and an intro to One Piece for the people who are new to the world. So for one, I'm going to do my best to not spoil anything that's going to be coming later on. Anything that I do discuss, like, it may be a couple episodes ahead, possibly, but I'm gonna make an effort to not spoil anything that's coming past the end of the first season that Netflix has done. So anything that is going to be revealed after like anything that's going to be revealed after the events of season 1, I'm going to try to stay away from, as to not spoil anything for the people who are new to the world, because yeah, y'all are important too, you know. Like, you gotta keep in mind, it's not just about the OGs. Like, don't get me wrong, I love us, you know, respect to us. We've been here riding. I've been watching One Piece. I'm 29 years old. I've been watching One Piece since I was 6 or 7, somewhere in there. So like a good strong majority of my life. Like, I get it. But yeah, this is about, you know, this is about the thing. And the thing right now is the live action. And let's go ahead and get to it. With that said, all right. I do have my notes here with me that I took when I was watching. I tried to come prepared, you know. And I also have the the show itself up here, like muted, but ready for me to just refer to really quickly if I need to go back to a specific moment, scene, anything like that. So you may just see me switching back and forth between looking here and over here at my computer. So, all right, to start, episode 1, Romance Dawn. Yo, love the fact that they kept the name. Those who are already fans will know that this is also the name of the very first chapter of One Piece in the manga, the very first episode in the anime. Yeah, like I'm not gonna plug that. I mean, you know, but I'm not gonna plug. Not yet. So yeah, starting with episode 1, Romance Dawn. We open on a map and we have the narrator voicing over, and to, you know, again, another thing that the fans of the manga and anime already will know is, you know, how huge of a deal the narrator is to the One Piece world, or to One Piece. Yeah, like no narrator, honestly, I feel like the entire experience of this show, or of this anime, like would just be completely different than it has been. And I really appreciate that they made sure to emphasize on that big relationship between the narrator and viewers of the show. Shout out to Ian McShane, who I actually didn't know until I didn't recognize his voice alone. But yeah, Ian McShane is our narrator, and fan of him from, I know, American Gods. I've seen him in other stuff. Forgive me for not being able to think of the names of them or whatever. But yeah, Ian McShane, fan of him. I feel like that was a great choice for a narrator. He's got a very, I would say, distinct and like powerful voice. And yeah, it's very epic. That's what I was looking for. Yeah, very, very kind of epic voice. And so we start out with him introducing us to the world of One Piece. We have a shot of a map over the East Blue. Love the map, love the imagery, all of this. Like, we're starting in Log Town, and this scene, as a lot of people will know, is the execution of Gold Roger that we are starting with. So, King of the Pirates, Gold Roger. Yo, when I tell you, like, so in the anime, for a while at least, they stopped doing it after, I can't remember when, but for a good while in the anime, like, you would have this scene at the beginning of the episode, or at least clips of it or whatever. Gold Roger's execution and the promise and all of that comes with it. Oh, don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But yeah, like, this is such a monumental moment in the story. Like, and I feel like it's really beautifully done. I like the setting of Log Town. I like the costuming, the look of Gold Roger, you know what I'm saying? They got the stash in there. Wanted poster, all that good stuff. We see Roger walking up to the gallows, and I believe that, yeah, gallows. Yeah, I think that's what that is. We see that Garp is the one who has captured him. This is Vice Admiral. This is Vice Admiral Garp. Won't go into the full name just yet. You'll see why later. Yeah, we have Garp played by Vincent Reagan, and Roger is being played by Michael Dorman. So shout out to both of them. I feel like they both did great jobs in these roles. Got Garp giving his speech. You know, he's letting them know, it's like, scourge of the earth, Gold Roger, king of the pirates, and this is why we are about to murk him in front of all of y'all for all the horrible things that he's done. But you see that Roger is cooling, like Roger's chilling, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's content. He's not like, you don't see like regret as you might see with a lot of different people who would be getting, who are getting ready to be executed. Like, and that's one thing to note about Roger, like about Roger's personality. And so we see also in the crowd, young Mihawk, who we will see plenty more of. We also see Dragon, Shanks, and a couple of others. I might have missed somebody, but yeah, I know we see Shanks, and we see Mihawk in the crowd at the execution. Because this was a huge deal, you know, like this was somebody who is basically just like turned the world out with his adventures and the things that he's done with his crew. He's gone all over the world just pirating and pillaging, plundering, and all these things. So it's like he's like the world's most wanted. So yeah, his execution was a huge event for people to attend. So we had people probably from all over the world, to be honest, from all over the One Piece world, probably came to witness his execution. So and here his last words, which, as we'll see here in a moment, were a very important spark to what will be known as the Great Pirate Era. Now let's see. Moving on from the execution scene, or no, excuse me. Not moving on from. We get the moving forward a little bit. I'll say we get the he's sitting there, he's laughing, and he's having a good time, which again comes back to just how differently built Roger is, and like Roger was that guy, like for real. And so he delivers the famous line or the famous speech. He's like, "You want my treasure? I obtained everything that this world has to offer: money, jewels, all these things. It's like, if you want it, go get it. It's out there. One Piece. One Piece." And with those words, like, we just see everybody there lose their minds, ladies, gentlemen, everyone, people, indies, all of us. The Great Pirate Era has begun, and here we are. So we go from the execution into the East Blue in the present day, and we see who else but Luffy in his trademark straw hat, his red vest. He is in a boat, like a little dinghy, or something like that. I'm not sure if that's what you would call it, but yeah, a little makeshift sail, something that you just you make and do with what you have. I mean, well, that's what makeshift means. But yeah, like you just threw it together because that was what was available to you. It's clear that he just doing his thing one deep, starting out. And I was nervous at first with this scene. I'm not gonna lie, because I forgot that the news coup, the seagull that he's talking to, is in this scene. And for a moment, until they showed the news coup, I was like, please tell me they don't have him talking to the camera. Oh my God. I was so nervous for that. I was like, why is Luffy talking to the camera? But no, he was talking to the news coup, which, is another thing like that goes to add to, or establish, I guess. I have to remember that we're seeing him for the first time. But yeah, it establishes that carefree, like free-spirited, just energetic, anybody is my friend that wants to be and isn't a bad person or whatever kind of energy that Luffy has. He just wants to do his thing, become king of the pirates, and make great friends along the way, and have adventures with those friends. And the first one he offered to join the crew, at least that we see here, is the news coup. Like that kind of, I feel like that kind of says a lot too. Like he's like, you gotta like pass the vibe check to get to friend first before he'll think about you as a crew member. It's like, because if we don't vibe, and I like that. Like, if we don't vibe as just individuals, as different people or whatever, like, why would I, even, it doesn't matter how strong you are, none of that. Like, if we can't vibe, then, I don't see why you would be part of my crew. You gotta be friend first. And I dig that. So we see that he ends up noticing that a leak is sprung in the boat, and quick thinking, Luffy decides to dump out the fish barrel, hop in there, and we see why. I mean, other than just the fact that nobody wants to drown, like, we'll later see why it's so important that Luffy and water don't cross paths. So yeah, I want to take a moment to just note his quick thinking here, because like I feel like there's kind of this idea that a lot of people subscribe to, that Luffy is an idiot or that he's stupid. And like I can see why a lot of people would think that. I get that it's really easy to feel like that's what's going on. But this is one of those like small moments that I feel like combats that, because it's like, you know, on his feet, he's just like, oh, you know what? Boom, barrel, empty it out. All right, cool, I'm good. So yeah, like just one real quick nod toward Luffy being real quick on his feet and resourceful. I like that. And then we go from there. We see the barrel floating along. We hear Luffy snoring, like he's so comfortable. And that's another thing too. Like he's not sweating this. Like he really doesn't sweat things in general. Excuse me. But yeah, like, you know, Luffy really doesn't sweat shit in general. Like he's just floating along. He's like, I'm good. So time to take a nap, and I'll deal with whatever comes next when it comes. So we see the barrel floating up to a battle between two pirate ships, one of these being the Miss Love Duck, and that is the pirate ship of Alvida and the Beautiful Pirates. So they are in a battle with another ship. They are clearly having the upper hand here. I love the design of the Miss Love Duck. I love what they did with the ships in general in this. But yeah, like we have the Miss Love Duck here, plenty of hearts, a lot of pink, in keeping with Alvida's theme. And even her cannonballs, like I didn't notice this at first, but even her cannonballs have hearts on them. So I was like, okay, like a little drip, like even on the cannonballs, like it's like we killing you with kindness almost, like we killing you with love. But yeah, so then we see Alvida on the deck, and you know, great job. We have Ilia Isarelis Paulino. I hope that I pronounced your name right. I apologize if I did not. I'm gonna be making my best effort with a lot of these names. But yeah, like, cause I hate to mispronounce people's names, but I'm just doing what I can. So we have her here as Alvida, and we see her in the full Alvida drip. She's got the mace, she's got the suit, the hat, all of it. I feel like she brought the attitude real well and everything. Again, great job. Like, honestly, I don't feel like they're, at least not that none that have jumped out to me. Like, I don't feel like I've seen a bad casting yet. At least that was noticeable. I feel like the casting directors, Oda having his hand on everything, everybody that was involved with picking these people to play these characters, like, kudos. Feel like y'all did an excellent job, because yeah, like everybody showed out. So we got, Alvida. She's doing her thing on the on the deck of the ship, showing off her captain swag, all that good stuff. And we see, we get very quickly, or very soon into meeting her, we get a peek at her insecurities and her short fuse, because she is asking her crew, she's like, who is the most fearsome and who is the most beautiful, and things like that. And it's kind of, it kind of harkens to the mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest. And like that whole thing was that she thought the evil queen, I can't remember which queen it was, I'm blanking, forgive me, Disney fans, but yeah, whichever queen that was, like, her whole thing was that she felt like she was ugly. She felt like deep down, even though she would say all these things, like she felt like she was ugly at the end of the day, and she was always questioning whether or not she felt beautiful and things. So I kind of feel like we get that same energy with Alvida here. And if you make the mistake of not feeding into it the way that she wants to, that she wants you to, then you will pay the price. And we see that very quickly. So yeah, like then moving on from Alvida real quick. Yeah, she just, oh, good God. She just mashed this guy's head, bro. And that, oh, dog. So, yeah, then we see, we meet Kobe for the first time. And we see him, he's the cabin boy, chore boy, whatever you want to have it. Like, he is the gopher, basically. Get my drinks, clean up this mess, grab me a snack, all that type of stuff. And here he is swabbing the deck of this man's brains. Like, gosh, he just bashed this man's brains out on the deck. Like, And yeah, so we see Kobe doing that. We get an idea of like his role in the crew and everything, and then we see him go down under the deck of the ship. He's cleaning off her mace. I love, yo, the mace. Like another touch though. Like I love it. Yeah, we see Kobe cleaning the mace, and then shortly after we see that barrel start shaking, and oh, what's going on with the barrel? Oh, I think it's the same one that kid Luffy was just in. Luffy hops out the barrel, of course, and we get this iconic scene. Man, like it was just, you're gonna see me like kind of just like a whole lot and just reaching and nostalgia and everything because of the fact that, again, I've been watching this anime since I was 6-7 years old, and I've seen it. I've seen certain parts of it multiple times, and like there are just certain moments that, they, even if you don't necessarily get the full weight of them right then when you're experiencing them, they, for someone who is however far into the story that we currently are, it's just to look back and see these brought to life again. It just really like warms my heart, So this is a really big scene. We see Kobe and Luffy meeting for the first time. Kobe being played by Morgan Davies. Oh, also shout out to, of course, the actor playing Luffy, Iñaki Godoy. Again, great choices. Like I feel like they did their roles very well. I feel like Iñaki brings the energy of Luffy, and Morgan, brings the energy of Kobe very well. So yeah, like Kobe's scared shitless. He's like, "Yo, dude, just popped out of a barrel. What the hell's going on?" I'm like probably thinking I'm gonna get in trouble for this. Like I just don't want to get my ass beat. Like, and Luffy's like, "Chill, we good. I'm just trying to find something to eat. Just trying to find a snack. We all right. How you doing?" Matter of fact, I'm like, "Hey, nice to meet you." And so that's their meeting. And then he's pretty much explaining to him like, yeah, I just need you to chill. I'm not here to hurt you. And we go from there. He's looking for food, of course. First thing, you'll see that a lot. That's a huge part of Luffy's character. Also, if I'm not mistaken, Luffy is a Taurus. So shout out to Taurus. And if it's one thing that a Taurus is gonna do, they're gonna eat. So Luffy holds true with that. Yeah, he's always looking for something to smash on real quick, especially meat. Like meat's his favorite. He, I don't think he cares too much for fruits and vegetables. Like I think he'll eat whatever if he just needs to eat, but I think he favors meat and proteins and things like that. For energy purposes or whatever reason. But yeah, so then we go from their meeting into a scene of him as a kid. We have kid Luffy here, and we see him waking up, got the water dripping on his face, like clearly, there's a trench baby, you know what I'm saying? Like, nothing against him at all, of course. Like, there's a trench baby. He in the trenches, like, and we see like how he grew up. Like, we have Colton Osorio playing young Luffy. Great job there as well. He wakes up, and as soon as he wakes up, he's, oh, Shanks. He's like, Shanks is back. We see that he's been marking off the days, just waiting for Shanks to come back. And we see why. Like, Shanks is his hero, and we meet him for the first time and his crew as well. From there, we see Luffy go up, and he, sneaks onto the ship, and we get to meet the red-haired crew. Oh, by the way, shout out to Fuchsia Village. Fuchsia Village. Windmill Village in English, but you will see me use a lot of the Japanese names, a lot of the original names from the anime and manga here. I'll, just translate as need be. But yeah, we're here in Fuchsia Village where the red-haired crew has made landfall, and we meet Shanks. Well, like, we saw him at the execution for like a split of a second, but we actually get to meet him here. We see Shanks, we see Yasopp, Ben Beckman, and Lucky Roo. Shanks, played by Peter Gadio. The members of the red-haired crew that we are meeting in this moment are Yasopp, played by Steve L. Mark, Ben Beckman, played by Laudo Liebenberg, and Lucky Roo, played by Nlanla Morgan Kutu. I pray that I pronounced your name right. I did my best. Apologies if I did not. And we also get our first look at the gum fruit. We don't realize it just yet, but in that little box that Shanks has in his hands is the gum fruit, and we will get to know a little bit more about that here in just a moment. I love the fact that Shanks mentioned what Lucky Roo has, because he said that it's a leg of lamb, and the reason why I was so hype about that is because for years, I don't know, well, you know what? It possibly could have been mentioned in like an SBS or something like that, but to my knowledge, I never knew or had it confirmed exactly what meat Lucky Roo is always eating, because in the anime, anytime you see him, like it's like his trademark thing, he's always chomping on something, like some type of meat, and you can't, I couldn't tell if it was like it's a mutton chop leg, I didn't know what it was, I just knew it was meat, and Lucky Roo always had it. But I love the fact they mentioned that it was a lamb chop, or excuse me, a leg of lamb, and he's like, yeah, you wouldn't drop that, so treat that carefully. Talking about the gum fruit, he also, Shanks mentions that this is more valuable than anything that we have on the ship, right? So, boom, going from there, we see Luffy, he's like, hey, yo, let me join, like, what's good? I'm trying to get down with the crew, you know what I'm saying? Like, little kid, very tenacious from a very early start. And he, of course, Shanks is like, this isn't for you, kid, like this, or this isn't for kids in general, but it's like, yeah, it's like, it's a very different thing. It's not just, out here playing pirate and da-da-da-da-da. He's basically trying to let him know, it's like, hey, this is a grown man game. And so, Luffy's like, I don't, he's like, yeah, let me show you what's up. Like, I got you, I'm tough. Like, in the anime, he even makes this line, I wanted him to do it here, but it's fine. Like, everything else is so great. I really can't nitpick small stuff like that. But like in the anime, he's like, my punches are like pistols and all that. And he's just trying to prove to Shanks, it's like, yo, man, like, I'm with it. Like, let me on the crew. And Shanks ain't having it. He's like, nah, man, this just ain't the world for you. Or at least not yet. But yeah, he's like, nah, man, it's not time. And Luffy's like, oh, word? Bet you like, and I think, he made a mention of like, I think toughness or something like that. And Luffy was like, oh, so all I gotta do is show you how tough I am? Bet. So Kid decides to take a dagger. Like, he runs off to this higher up part of the ship, takes a dagger, and just stabs it into his eye, or like right below his eye. And, freaks everybody out, of course. Like, Luffy, what the hell are you doing? They, grab him, and like, he's just like, I mean, you said I needed to be tough, and for Kid Luffy, that kind of tracks perfectly, you know what I'm saying? He's like, so A plus B equals C. I need to be tough. Toughness means this. And so we go from there back to the conversation that Luffy's having with Kobe, because like this was like a flashback and him referring to his childhood as he's speaking to Kobe. So we come back to it, and now, like, at first Kobe was real standoffish and everything. He's like, yo, what the fuck? Like, who are you? Where you come from? Like, all this. But we kind of see that Luffy's getting a bit more of his attention now. He's like, oh, okay. Like, he's like, you're intriguing me, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not just some, I mean, it's like you are just some guy, but at least the shit that you're saying is interesting. So I guess that's where we got that. Like, he starts to, tell him, he's like, yeah, I want to be, this is why I want to be a pirate. Like, I love the freedom, the wind, the seas, like all of it. I want to travel the Grand Line. I want to become king of the pirates. Like, he's telling him all this. And while he's now a bit more engaged, Kobe's still kind of like, you kind of sound like you up here in the clouds with it. You're talking about the Grand Line. The Grand Line's pretty real. I don't know if you realize what you're talking about. And he's talking to, pretty much explaining to him why he's on Alvida's ship, why he won't leave. Because Luffy's, he's real simplistic in his worldview. He's like, oh, you don't like it here? Okay, well, leave. Like, and Kobe's telling him all the reasons why he can't do that. He's like, nah, she'll hunt me down, and this, that, and third. He's like, terrified of this woman, of course, because he's been on her crew for, or not on her crew, but on her ship for however long. And it's like, what are you talking about? Like, I can't just leave. Like, I can't just go. What do you mean? And so from there, we go into Luffy's first battle that we see on screen. They just hop up there. He's like, hey man, like, you know, quit being scary. Like, basically, it's just like, quit being scary. Like, they go up to the deck. And so, yeah, we see Luffy meeting Alvida for the first time and just kind of blows everyone away by, for one, the fact that, you know, you're not terrified of her. Like, what are you doing being on this ship and not being terrified of her? What are you doing not being terrified of her in general, you know? Because, like, as far as they're concerned, it's the most fearsome pirate on the seas, most terrible. So, yeah, Luffy's just like, what's up? I'm like, okay, cool. And so we have a battle between Luffy and Alvida and the Beautiful Pirates, which is the name of her crew. And one of the first things that I want to note, I saw this in the trailer to an extent, but I just really want to note that I love how they did the Gum Gum powers. Like, it was one of my main concerns leading up to the release and everything. Like, as soon as I heard that there was going to be a One Piece live action, I think that was one of the main things that I had as a concern. I was like, Luffy does a lot with those Gum Gum powers. Like, he uses them nearly constantly throughout the anime. They really gonna have to make that look right. You know, they're gonna have to make it look good. Otherwise, it's gonna kill the whole thing, because that's like most of the screen time that Luffy has. So he's doing something, I feel, or not most necessarily, but he does it a lot. Oh Lord, I'm a bite. I'm getting old, y'all. But yeah. So I was really concerned about the Gum Gum powers and everything, but hey, they did their thing. Shout out to the effects team, everybody who had a hand on this, the CGI, all that. Like, y'all did great. Now from there, let's see. What we got next? Yeah, Gum Gum powers look awesome. From there, he, you know, knocks out Alvida. Yeah, anybody else got a problem with Kobe? Nope, you just fucked up our captain. We have nothing to say to you, sir. So yeah, then they go on. Oh yeah, so I love that they had him get shot in the first fight, because that's one of the main or one of the first ways that we see the effects of Luffy's gun power in combat, is that he can't be harmed by firearms, like blunted projectile or blunt objects, projectiles, anything like that. So yeah, they showed him get shot. They showed him get hit with the mace. Like, you know, we're very quickly getting a good idea of the types of things that don't work against Luffy in a fight. I love that they established that very, very quickly. So moving on, going to Six's Island. Lord. Hold on. One moment. All right. So moving on, we are going to Six's Island. And now, to my understanding, this was in, I believe, either the manga or the anime. I can't remember which one, but I think it was just like an unnamed island, like in the East Blue, that's pretty rough or whatever. But one actually mentioned it briefly, one of the two. And here we actually get a bit of a spotlight on it. We see Zoro. Zoro's chilling out, got the Zen garden vibes going all around, the candles in the circle, he's meditating, getting his mind right. You know, this is like one of, I feel, the very important facets of Zoro's character, is how in tune he is with his spirituality, with, you know, the mind and body, like body as a temple and taking care of the mind, things like that. Now, later on, we're going to see something that kind of combats that a little bit, but it's fine. Like, but yeah, this is mainly Zoro's, like, type of energy. You know, it's like, train the mind, train the body, like, be in tune with the spirit and all that is. And we see him chilling here until he is bothered by Mr. Seven. Oh, excuse me. By the way, Zoro, played by Makinyu Arata, and great job there. Again, like, you're gonna hear me say a whole lot how well these cast members did, because they did. Like, this cast did a great job. They did a great job. Like, shout out over and over again. Y'all did y'all's thing on this. But yes, we have him interrupted, bothered, whatever, by Mr. Seven, who is played by, oh Lord, I had his name, and I was actually, give me one moment, Mr. Seven, Ben Kagoshiimori, excuse me, yes, Ben Kagoshiimori playing Mr. Seven. Shout out to the fact that we got a black Mr. Seven, because he is of European appearance in the anime, so shout out. I guess bro must have just showed out. So, oh, by the way, I've seen a couple of the jokes on Twitter and things like that about Zoro the Minority Hunter, which I love. I kind of love the fact that his first enemy that we see him defeat is a black dude. And like, if we get to continue on further into the story and things like, y'all will get to see why that's so funny. But yes, Ben Kagoshiimori as Mr. Seven, who makes the offer to Zoro to join the organization that he works for, is Baroque Works, and Zoro's like, nah. I'm like, y'all, and if y'all were serious about it, y'all should have sent somebody better than number 7. Like, I love that. He's like, Zoro already, like, he cold from the jump. Like, he's already like familiar, and he knows that he's the shit like that. It's like, so he's like, yeah. He's like, nah, like, Mr. Number 7. You sent number 7 to talk to me? Yeah, I like that. So, moving on from that scene, we go into Shanks healing up. Oh man, and like, dog, like real quick before I go into the next scene, the swordplay. Like, you can tell that these actors, especially the Straw Hat actors, they did their training. They committed to these roles. Like, you can see the dedication to their characters that they have, and it just makes everything hit home so much better. Like, I mean, shout out, of course, to the costuming, because just as well as I feel like the actors did, I feel like whoever did costume design on these characters was aces. Yeah, like, they're pretty, the ones, I mean, even the ones that aren't exactly like a one-to-one comparison to the animated character, I still feel like they did a really good job in dressing all these actors. So, yeah, we see the bandana tied around Zoro's arm, got the white shirt, of course, the trademark green hair, and the pants with his 3 swords to the side. So, yeah, we know, those who know, yeah, this is Zoro in his most Zoro form, with the sash belt, of course, the cummerbund. So, yeah, sliced him up real quick, and then we move on to Shanks healing up Luffy. He's stitching him up a little bit, and Luffy's basically saying, hey, like, he's like, don't do it too well. I want people to be able to see my scar, which just speaks to his mindset. Like, him as a kid, he's like, yeah, I need people to recognize, like, what I've been through. Like, so I want everybody to know how tough I am. And Shanks is imparting wisdom onto him. He's like, the scars don't make the man. You got a lot to learn. This is why I'm saying that you're not ready, this, that, and the third. But yeah, just a little bit of Luffy talking his shit, and Shanks, as we see him do a whole lot, especially in Luffy's younger years, like, just passing on that OG wisdom to him, try to let him know, it's like, hey, look, hey, young boy, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta slow down. And also, side note, we got Binks' Saki playing in the background. Warmed my heart. Those who know, I won't go any further than that. But yeah, Binks' Saki in the background. Hey, just see, it's those little touches. That's what I'm talking about, man. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Just all those little touches that just show you how much they cared when they made this. And I love that. So we go from there. And let's see, we got, he's talking with Shanks, and then after Shanks stitches him up, he goes and, of course, he's like frustrated with himself and everything because Shanks still won't let him join the crew, and he's just like, man, what can I do? Like, what I gotta do to get tougher? Like, what I gotta do to prove that I can be one of them ones? And so he goes and he remembers Shanks said that this box right here is more valuable than everything that they have, all the loot that they have. So again, A plus B equals C. Like, if I consume most valuable thing that Shanks has, I become most valuable thing that Shanks has. So yeah. And we're back. All right, I had ran into a little storage issue, so I had to work with my phone real quick. So this is the first time that we see the appearance of the gum gum fruit itself outside of the chest. I think they did a great job with the design on it. Looks great, really true to the original. I also think they did a great job with the texture, making sure to drive home like the grossness of the thing. Like, they really give you that experience of he's devouring something that just does not seem very appetizing at all. Because in the One Piece world, devil fruits are notoriously gross. They're very disgusting, do not taste good in the slightest. Yeah, so good job there. And I also want to make the point that I appreciate that they made sure to show us Luffy's personality before he consumed the fruit. Because if you're familiar with manga and anime, there will be sometimes where you have a character that, like, their power kind of is their identity, or like their power creates their identity, something of that nature. But we didn't, like, Oda didn't go that route here. He's like, no, this was already a kid who had something on their mind. You know, they already had like the guts, like the moxie and the stuff, you know, that just is the foundation of achieving greatness and things like that. But came across this thing right here, and it just added to this person, and now they're practically unstoppable. But like, it wasn't a thing of like, oh, the devil fruit made Luffy great. Nah, I don't think that's the case. And also, just a little intro to devil fruits real quick. Trust me, we'll get much deeper into them as things progress. But for right now, you know, all you really need to know about devil fruits, they are one of the main power sources of the One Piece world. There's lots of different types of them. No two are the same. Yeah, you eat it and you become imbued with whatever powers the fruit has, depending on the one that you catch. Now, moving on from there, we see him eat the fruit, and right after, we meet Higuma and his gang of mountain bandits, while Shanks and the red hair pirates are enjoying themselves at Makino's bar. Makino, who I don't think we've seen Makino just yet, but Makino is the person who runs this bar. We'll see her at some point. But yeah, like, Shanks and the crew are chilling, doing their thing, just doing a piratey thing and minding their business, not bothering nobody. Here comes Higuma with his hating ass. Higuma, played by Tamer Berjak, I believe. Again, apologies if I mispronounce your name. Or excuse me, possibly Tamer, now that I think about it. Tamer or Tamir Berjak. But yes, again, great job portraying the character that you were given. I got the Higuma vibes. You know, he's this grimy, dusty bastard. He just wants to go around and bully people and stuff like that. He leads his gang and all that. So yeah, we see Higuma introduced to the world, and we see him interacting with Shanks. He walks in, he's like, where the liquor at? Basically, like, I need all of it. Run me that. And we find out that Shanks and the red hair pirates have drank the place dry. Basically, all that's really left is like half a bottle of liquor. But and this, you know, is one of those things that just goes to show Shanks' character and who he is as a person. So like, even though this dude is being a complete asshole and dickhead to him and his crew, he's just like, hey man, look, you looking for liquor? I'm sorry, we drank it all, but we got this and you can have it if you want. But of course, you know, Higuma decides to be a dick about it, so smashes the bottle, and, you know, makes a whole like hyper masculine show out of it. Yeah, now clean it up and all this other shit. And Shanks, being, you know, who he is, like, man, all right, cool. You know what I'm saying? Goes ahead. Like, he's not even sweating this the whole time. You know, it's not even like he's just worried about it or whatever. He's like, okay, this is what dude's doing. Let me just go ahead and clean up my friend's bar real quick since this guy wants to be an asshole. And I, like, on top of noting that, I just want to also mention, you see in this moment the trust and the respect that the red hair crew has for Shanks. Because in a lot of situations, you know, like on average, you know, like real world, you know what I'm saying? You out in the world, you kicking it with your homies or something like that, and somebody just decides to start being a dickhead to y'all for no reason. They over breaking your liquor bottle and doing all this other extra shit. Like, somebody gonna jump up, somebody gonna jump stupid, even if it's not you, the person that they talking to directly. I feel like a lot of, you know, most of us have at least one or two people in our crew that ain't gonna let that type of shit stand, and somebody getting hands put on them. But with the red hair crew, like, they got too much respect for this man, they got too much trust in him to go and make any type of move without his like go ahead approval, without feeling like this is something that Shanks wants. Like, you know, they didn't move. Like, none of them, like, they stopped and they watching and everything, but they didn't move. Like, they not grabbing weapons, none of that. They chilling, they watching their captain to see how he's gonna handle it, and that was that. Like, and that was pretty much the end of it. Like, at this moment, Shanks is just like, all right, man, you know, whatever, cool. And then even after we see Higama and them leave, like, the crew just bust out laughing. And they're like, oh, damn, he got you good, Shanks. Because, like, they get it. You know, it's like, like, you don't argue with a roach when it comes into your house. You know what I'm saying? Like, who argues with a roach? You either gonna step on it or you gonna put it in a cup and let it go outside. But you're not gonna sit there and be like, hey, yo, I can't believe you. You know, like, nah, none of that shit. Like, and I feel like that was pretty much the energy of this right here. You know, it's like, yeah, this is just some dickhead guy. Yeah, so we go from there, and then now Luffy on the flip is like, I mean, and of course it's Luffy, and he's a child, you know, and he's all hyped up and trying to prove himself. And for him to see, like, I feel like this is kind of one of those like almost meeting your heroes moments, quote unquote, where he's like, he sees a little bit more of Shanks than just like the bravado of being a pirate captain and things like that. And he wasn't prepared for that, you know, because to him, it's just like, no, Shanks is just that guy. You don't fuck with Shanks. You fuck with Shanks and you get fucked up. Like, I don't cuss. I ain't no way this video getting monetized. But so yeah, like, Luffy is pissed about this, like, and understandably so in the position that he's in. So he's like, yo, what's up? Like, why didn't you rip him a new one or something like that? Like, what's going on? You should have put all the things on him. So Shanks is explaining to him. He's like, look, you can't go getting into a fight every time somebody spills the drink on you. You know what I'm saying? You can't go getting into a fight every time somebody decides to be an idiot. And that's basically that. But Luffy ain't having it. You know what I'm saying? He's like, nah, like, you're a coward. Like, straight up, he's like, no, you're not a real man. You a coward. Like, he at Shanks' neck over the fact that he let this man slide. So, yeah, like, we really get to see, like, again, that OG wisdom. Shanks imparting that wisdom onto him. He's like, yo, young bull, chill. Like, and so from there, you know, Luffy, of course, isn't satisfied. So he tries to run off. He's like having a temper tantrum basically at this moment. And Shanks grabs him by the arm. He's like, Luffy, no. And then this is when we find out, oh, he stretches. And so we see Luffy trying to run off, and like Shanks has a hold on his arm, and his arm just starts stretching out, and everybody just kind of stops for a moment. And then Shanks is like taken aback, and he looks and he lets go, and he just says, what have you done? And it was one of the, I actually like put this line as a note in and of itself, because I love this moment. Like, I feel like he delivered this line extremely well, and it just drove home the gravity of it for him, because like Shanks is like, as far as Shanks is looking at this, he's like, you don't even realize how irrevocably you've changed your life, like, and everything else about it or whatever, right? So he's just like, what have you done? And beautiful line, beautiful scene. So moving on from there, we again, because this is still flashbacks, so we go back to him talking to Kobe, and they're in the boat, and Kobe, like, well, Luffy's like, yeah, so next stop Grand Line, like, this is what's going on, you know what I'm saying, get with it. And Kobe makes a very good point. He's like, so how do we get there? How do we get there? And Luffy's like, he sits there and thinks for a moment. He's like, I don't know. And yeah, and again, it's like just all full steam ahead, tunnel vision with Luffy. It's like all I know, all I know, all that I know, period, is I'm going to go to the Grand Line and become king of the pirates. All the rest of the details and shit that's unimportant, I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out later. But all I know is that I'm going to the Grand Line and I'm going to be the king of the goddamn pirates. So yeah, this is the first moment that Luffy realizes, like, yeah, probably should have a navigator. Um, so then they, are talking a little bit more, and they're discussing the dream, like Luffy's dream of becoming the pirate king, and he's asking, like, and Kobe is still kind of having his worldview broken and opened up by this. Like, he's like, he can't believe that, of all things, like, you just picked this dream that is like completely unattainable for most people and seemingly impossible, especially for you to be a teenager. You're talking about becoming king of the pirates. You don't even have a crew. You're one person, all that. So it's like all this is still going on in Kobe's head while he's looking at this kid in this hat with these weird stretchy powers be like, I'm going to be the king of the pirates. And so Luffy's just like, bro, I don't understand how you don't get it like that. And that's another thing about Luffy. Like, he's so into his dream. He's so in love with his goals and going after them that, like, it's like he almost doesn't understand, like, any person not having at least one thing that's like that to them. Like, he's like, why don't you have a dream that's like me and wanting to be the king of the pirates? Like, everybody should have at least one goal or one big goal or dream or something like that. And so he asked him, he's like, so what, like, if you could do anything you want, what would you do? And he kind of, like, Kobe kind of clams up. He's like, I don't know, it's kind of stupid. And so when he does that, Luffy gets up and slaps the shit out of him. Like, he just straight up, he's like, yo, fuck wrong with you? But yeah, he's like, no, like, and Kobe's like, what was that for? He's like, for being dumb. And he's like, what? And he's like, basically just saying, like, don't, like, telling him, don't downplay your dreams, don't shrink yourself, don't be afraid to, at the very least, express openly and vehemently and very loudly what you want and mean that shit. Like, that was, it was Luffy's way of getting that message through. He just, hey, yo, stop. But so yeah, and then we go from there, and like Luffy makes mention of being stealthy, which I just love. I made a note of that just because that's hilarious to me personally, and I'm sure if you don't already get it, you'll definitely get why as we move forward. So from that scene, we move on to the introduction of none other than our navigator, Nami. And this is the same way that we meet her in the anime. She's stranded, or she appears to be stranded. She's laying in this boat under the sun, and just, I'm just so exhausted. I'm so weary. I'm so weary. Like, just, anyone, please help me. And then we see these guys sail up next to her, these two pirates. I want to say that they showed that there was a black flag on the boat. Like, I know that they're pirates, but I don't know if they had just, like they made it clear, like, these are pirates, right? So, yeah, she's like, oh, please save me. And, we get our first taste of Nami the Great Finessa, you know what I'm saying? Like, they get on they think they about to hit a lick, you know what I'm saying? They're like, oh, well, what you got in that box right there? What's up with that box that you got, that you holding on to? And she's like, oh, no, please don't take my treasure. And while they're, like, turned around, focusing on this treasure chest, which they discover to be empty, they turn back around, and she's like, oh, well, thank y'all for the ship, guys. Like, and just takes off with their boat, and I love it. So yeah, and I don't know if it's, no, I don't, wait. Yes, okay, yes, buggy flag. So yeah, it's made clear that these are, buggy pirates, even though we, haven't met Buggy yet and everything. We see the Jolly Roger of the buggy pirates on the flag. So, going from there into Shellstown after she hits the lick on the would-be lick hitters. We see Shellstown. Love this design. Again, like I feel like they did a really great job with like the layouts of the places and making them as accurate as possible to the anime. We see the 153rd Marine Base, and this is kind of the idea of how a lot of marine towns tend to look. You'll have like your huge base in the middle or somewhere toward the center, and the rest of the town is kind of like built around it, sprawled out, things like that. But yeah, here we have Shellstown, which is home to the 153rd. So coming in, we're seeing Marines. Like shout out to the costume design. Like I love the look of the Marine costumes. We have the huge picture of Captain Morgan up on the wall, and like now, I mean, and again, this is another thing. It's like it would be a nitpick for me personally. Like there was a huge, like in the anime, it's like a huge statue that he's having erected of himself and everything. But I feel like this still drives the point home very well. You know, it's like he's an egomaniac. Like he just wants to see himself as much as possible. So yeah, I think they did a good job with that. We see more wanted posters, like, and we're actually getting into them as opposed to just like having them flashed for a moment. So, oh, okay. So I just realized I'm gonna have to go back and edit this in. But yes, bounties. This is another important aspect of the One Piece world, a very important aspect. Bounties are basically like a way to, well, not, it's like they can be used to an extent for power scaling, but it's also more for like who's caused the most trouble. Like, excuse me, bigger the bounty, badder the pirate, more trouble they've caused, blah, blah, blah. Pretty straightforward. I cannot remember Alvida's bounty off the top of my head, but I will do my best to point out bounties as they come across. But yeah, so wanted posters, we see them all along the wall here. We see Buggy's wanted poster, and we see who else? I guess, yeah. So we see Buggy's, and we see Luffy and Kobe looking at the wall of wanted posters and everything. And yeah, Kobe, like the way that you get the two vastly different viewpoints on like the different things in the One Piece world, but from Luffy and Kobe's perspectives, I love that a lot because you got Kobe and he's like, oh my god, yeah, these are the worst and biggest, baddest pirates, and I just like these are just I can't believe and all that. But Luffy, he's just like, man, yeah, why ain't I up here? Like, it's like, what y'all like? I'm not a pirate. Am I not a pirate? Like, but yeah. So going from there, we see Luffy, and he's telling Kobe, he's like, okay, before we do anything, I gotta eat something. It's like he's gonna break into the Marine base. He's gonna steal the map of the Grand Line so that they can at least figure out where the hell they going, even if he doesn't yet have a navigator. So he's like, yeah, I'm gonna break into the base, but first I need to get me something to eat on real quick. And again, we're gonna see that be a almost beat over the head. I mean, it's fine because it's like it always works and they do it well. But it's like the theme itself of like Luffy and food. It's gonna keep on coming at you. Like that's not going anywhere. Luffy like to eat. He like to eat. Period. So yeah. After that, we go into the restaurant or a bar, or whichever one, where we see Ririka, who is the owner of the bar, Ririka, and one of the two. But she is played by Camden Gary, or excuse me, my mistake. Camden Gary is Rika. Ririka is Nicole Fortune. But yeah, so we see Ririka come up and serve Luffy and Kobe their meal, and they're sitting there talking about the plan and everything. I love the fact that this bar is full of Marines and Luffy does not give one damn about regulating his volume. Like Kobe's even trying to tell him, he's like, yo, lower your voice. Like there's Marines everywhere. It's like, but yeah, so anyway, like I was saying, I was about to break into the Marine base and grab that map real quick. So like, and yeah, Luffy just don't give a damn. Cause it's like, Luffy, he don't fear people. Like, yeah, Luffy ain't afraid of none of them. Like, yeah, I'm gonna talk about running up in your shit while you right here. I don't care. So moving on from there, we're gonna see a whole lot going on in this short little scene here in the bar. Like this is the first time that we see Luffy, Zoro, and Nami all in the same place, even if they don't realize that, you know, even if they don't know each other yet and everything. We see Zoro coming in and he has Mr. Seven's body, of course, split in half. Like my boy in there flipping them packs. He's Zoro the bounty hunter, or Zoro the pirate hunter, excuse me. But if I'm not mistaken, yeah, since Baroque Works is a criminal organization, he can also get a bounty for Mr. Seven. So he brings him in. We see Mr. Seven's head sticking out the top of the bag. And then shortly afterward, he sits at the bar, and next to him, we see none other than Kabaji, who will, you know, become more relevant as things develop. But Kabaji, played by Sven Rugrok. Sven Rugrok. I pray that I got your name right. Apologies if I don't. And yeah, we see Kabaji. He's there for a second, and then he kind of just dips off after he smirks a little bit. He's like, oh, okay, Zoro, let me go handle something real quick. And then after that, we see Rika, played by Camden Gary, and she comes up. She is Rika's daughter. She is a waitress in the bar also. And, you know, she's just doing her kid thing, messing around with Zoro, blah, blah, blah. And see Nami, she's over here, like, working the Marines, trying to find one. We later find out exactly what she's working on as far as this right here. But yeah, she's flirting with a Marine here, a Marine there, trying to get her own thing going. So yeah, like there's 3 different angles of what will become the Straw Hat crew members going on at the same time in the same place. Like I really like that dynamic of it. So then we have Rika, and she comes up and offers Zoro some rice balls. And yeah, she's like, now in the anime, she added salt, which like it made them, if I'm not mistaken, I think it made them nasty or something like that. Or it's like she either added salt and it's supposed to be sugar, or she added sugar and it's supposed to be salt. I can't remember which one. But either way, the way that she made it was supposed to be like this cute, adorable kid thing, you know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, look at you fucking up my food. Like, and so, yeah, like she offers him the rice balls and everything. Now in the live action, she added chocolate to him, and she's like, he's like, what's that you added? Because that's definitely not what they're supposed to look like. She's like, oh, well, chocolate, like it just makes everything better, which again, all kids making us food and not knowing how to cook shit. But so then yeah, she's offering him the rice balls, and we see none other than Helmeppo, and we're introduced to him. He's berating the little girl because of the fact that he walked up to her. Like, yeah, I just realized this. Like, he bumps into her, makes her drop the plate, and then he's like, you stupid little girl, like you bumped into me and all this shit. Like, you know, grade A asshole. He's stomping on the rice balls and everything, being a jerk, all that good stuff. Helmeppo, played by Aiden Scott, is Helmeppo. Again, good job there. And we see the scene that, you know, a lot of people, or a lot of the fans, recognize as Zoro's, like what gets Zoro in trouble, basically. So we find out that like he's like, oh, well, making fun of the little girl and all this other shit, like just, you know, being a dick or whatever. And Zoro decides to stand up for her. He's like, you dropped my food. Like, and he eats the rice ball off the floor. And I just like, this is just such a real moment right here. Like, this is some real nigga shit. Like, Zoro's just like, you know what? Man, this little girl worked hard on these, bro. Like, I'm going to take a little scoop, tells her it's delicious. And he's like, now apologize to her for ruining my meal and shit. And of course he doesn't because he's a dickhead. So Zoro has to fuck him up real quick. Like, and this is when we see Zoro in action. Well, outside of the Mr. Seven interaction real quick. But yeah, we see him get down in the bar and Luffy's just eating this up. He's loving it. You know, I think like this is the moment when Luffy's like, yo, I want to do it on my crew. Like he's a real nigga and he can fight. So yeah, Zoro fucks up all of them. Helmeppo and these Marines or whatever ends up in a little bit of hot water, and we see him next in Morgan's office, and we're introduced to Captain Axe-Hand Morgan, one of our first major, or one of our first villains, I guess, that Luffy is going to be facing, that we interact with in the East Blue arc. So we see him sharpening his axe hand. Nice touch. You know, I like the look of the office. The axe hand looks cool. They got the jaw, the iron or steel jaw, whichever one it is. All right, took a little break and now we're back. So jumping right back in, as I was saying, love the design on Morgan here. Like, kudos for that and everything. And we're going into where we see Morgan offering Zoro a deal here. Because, you know, Zoro, like, he's not just like as far as the situation goes, like, he's not just like an average everyday criminal that just hit his kid or whatever. So, like, since he has a rapport as a bounty hunter with the government and everything, like, he's kind of giving him, I guess, you know, the way he's looking at it, offering him a bit of leeway, stuff like that. And he offers him a job and everything, and Zoro's pretty much, you know, like, nah, like, you know, fuck off, I'm gonna do my own thing. Like, I'm not, he makes the joke, he's like, I don't really have time to do dress up, like, or play dress up, like, so, yeah, like, he's not feeling getting down with the Marines or whatever. So, Morgan decides to tell him that if he can make it 7 days strung up in the yard without food or water, then he'll let him slide on assaulting Helmeppo and everything. And, you know, like, those who are fans know how this is going to go. And I mean, I'm pretty sure you can figure how this is going to go. Like, it's not really going to go according to plan. You see a bit of Helmeppo sniveling, you know, all that type of stuff. Like, annoying, really annoying. Like, when you first meet Helmeppo and everything, like, I definitely wasn't a fan at first. Like, had to grow on me there. So moving into Luffy and Kobe, we see them here laying back, looking at the stars and everything, and just chopping it up a bit. And they're discussing like good and bad as far as their world, and like how there's good pirates, bad pirates. Like Luffy saying, he's like, you know, the same way that you see that there's good pirates and bad pirates, like you've met me now and everything. There's good Marines and bad Marines, but you'll be one of the good ones. So they're discussing their philosophies on that and everything, and it kind of gives us a view into how justice and things like that are viewed in the One Piece world, because you have this very clear cut, as far as on the broad scale, you have this very clear cut line between Marines good, pirates bad. Like, so to get to experience two people who live within this world, like discussing the nuance between that, like, and it's two young characters who, you know, are gonna make their marks on the world in their own ways. So yeah, like, I feel like that was a nice moment to have. And it also points to Luffy's just ability to inspire, which like a lot of times is regarded as his biggest power, or his strongest ability really is just his ability to inspire others and attract friends that will, you know, help him in whatever way they can to accomplish his goal, because he just has made such an impression on so many people after a certain point in the story. Moving forward again, going to Zoro in the yard, we see Helmeppo coming up, you know, like really like how they laid all this out. Looks really true to the anime. Very accurate as far as the way that they have the layout of Zoro being here, and like Helmeppo, you know, the hair is one thing, but that's you know, for later. But yeah, so we see Helmeppo, you know, he's coming up, he's got Wado in his hands, and Wado Ichimonji being Zoro's first like named sword or like important blade or whatever. So yeah, like it's really near and dear to him, as we'll see later. And he's messing with Zoro about the fact that he's in this situation, and he tells him, he's like, "Oh yeah, no, you're not gonna like. I don't know what you thought was gonna happen. Like my father's gonna kill you. You're gonna die here." So yeah, like again, we get to see a little bit more into like the excuse me, the nuances of good and evil in the One Piece world, where we have a Marine captain who is supposed to be this shining symbol of justice, but he's made a deal with this bounty hunter. And I mean, even though even looking at the deal itself, like, is really shaky. And then come to find out, it's like, oh no, yeah, that was never a plan to like let you to uphold our side, or like to let you walk out of here alive, or any of that. Like, you were just screwed from the get go. Yeah, that's just we really quickly still, this is in the first episode, 20 like halfway through. So it's like very quickly they're establishing, like, I like how they pace the world building in here. Like, you really get to see the different aspects of how the major philosophies play out. Yeah, we see that Nami is snuck in a little bit more into the base. um Zoro strung up, and here comes Luffy out of a grate. Now, this is a bit different from the anime because, if I'm not mistaken, Luffy just launched himself over the wall and was there. So, yeah, like, Luffy apparently infiltrated successfully and found a way to get to this grate, and it brought him to the yard. So he sees Zoro, and he's giving him his props. He's like, "Oh yeah, I saw you in the bar, like that, I really like that." And this is his first offer: join my crew. Like, he's giving him a little bit of flack for a minute, like, they doing the whole bantering and everything. But yeah, he's like, I see that you showed up and stood up for the little girl. Like, that was really admirable to Luffy. So yeah, he's like, join my crew, man, come on. And of course, the first time Zoro says no, he's like, "No, like, I don't, like, I'm a pirate hunter. Like, why would I be a pirate? That doesn't even make sense." Yeah, he's like, "I kill your kind for a living. Pirate hunter being my name." So yeah, it doesn't make sense. But even still, another thing that points to Luffy's character, he tells him, "Yeah, like, my goal is to become the world's greatest swordsman. Like, I'm not interested in being a pirate." But Luffy lets him go anyway. Like. And that's like, to me, really admirable. Something to respect. It's like even though he's not getting what he particularly wants or is asking of Zoro, like, he's still like, yeah, like, your freedom is your freedom, and everybody should be able to have their freedom. Like, so he lets him go, goes on about his business. You know what I'm saying? So then we see Nami. She's in the map room or chart room, whichever you would call it. I'm not sure. She's looking around doing her thing, and she gets caught by a couple Marines, a couple real Marines, all on her imposter status. She tries to finesse it, and the first guard she actually successfully convinces a little bit, but then she ends up referring to another one, and it's like, oh no, now she's found out. So she has to drop both of them real quick. Nami with the hands, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Nami with the hands, and her staff, her trusty dusty staff that we see her frequently with in the anime. And this, that's gonna be its own thing. So from there, she meets none other than our favorite Straw Hat Luffy, and they have, this funny little interaction where she tries to take him into custody, like she's a real Marine, and he's like, yeah, no, I overheard everything, so yeah, like, you're not taking me anywhere. And like, Luffy's basically just like, they find out that they're both there for the same map of the Grand Line, and Luffy's like, okay, well, yeah, that's my map, so I'm gonna go get it, and they pretty much end up together after that. So yeah, they're getting further into the base, and we kind of see, the beginnings of the dynamic between Luffy and Nami, where Luffy is the one who's just really headstrong. Again, tunnel vision, just like, okay, I'm going for what I know I want. And he's like, okay, I want the map. So he's just walking through the base, like, without a care in the world, la-di-da. And Nami's the one who's like, hey, we do still need to hide. Like, we are still criminals. So Yeah, like they're walking around the base and they are talking about Axe Hand Morgan, and Luffy has one of my favorite moments here in this first episode. Is like, why do they call him Axe Hand? Like, I swear Luffy's not an idiot. I promise you. Like, he really isn't though. Like, Luffy's not an idiot. He just, if it's not right on the line of what he's aiming toward, he does not care, and he's not going to dedicate much thought to it. Like, your name, anything aside, aside from like just you're a person that I have to deal with or go through, whatever. Like, it's not that important to him. So I. He's like, yeah, why do they call him Axe Hand Morgan? Because he probably hasn't even given it a thought at all that he literally has an axe for a hand. For a hand, excuse me. So they run into him, and before we can get into that conversation, Luffy sees the hand, and he's like, oh, got you. Now we cut to Helmeppo for a minute, and in what I can only describe as a Buffalo Bill-esque, for those who know, moment. He's in his room with Zoro's sword, Wado Ichimonji, and yeah, he's just doing a little performance for himself and everything. So there's that happened. Zoro shows up, like, give me my sword, and yeah, he lets him slide. So then we get back to Luffy and Nami face to face with Morgan. And so, like I say, shout out to Nami Finesse here, because even though Luffy, again, like, is not like processing this on the level that she is, like, she just gets through this conversation pretty well, I would say. Like, is able to convince a Marine captain, the head of the entire base, like, that she belongs there, even with a little bit of poking and prodding, questioning, and all that type of stuff. So yeah, dope moment. Like, this is really impressive to Luffy also. Impressive. I said impressive, right? Yeah, this is really impressive to Luffy also. And we see them get into the office after that. So, oh yeah, right before, like, Luffy and Nami have a little discussion. Like, he's like, join my crew. And she's like, no, I won't do anything with you. Like, I hate pirates. And he's like, well, that's because you don't know me yet. And I love that moment. Like, that made me smile. He's like, and because it just speaks so much. It's like, yeah, because you don't know Luffy yet. Like, and so many people are gonna have that experience. Like, because you don't know Monkey D. Luffy yet, that's why you feel the way you do about pirates. I love that. They get into the office. We see him, like, we see this statue of Morgan, like, which, I mean, like, shout out to the fact they still gave him a statue. It's not the same one. Again, small thing, like, nothing to trip over. But yeah, like, we have this big ass statue of Morgan in the office, and he's, funny enough, carrying Helmeppo, who we've already seen he doesn't give too much of a shit about, like, or at least the way he acts. Just like, in this moment, the way that we have Luffy exploring the office, the way that he and Nami are dialoguing and everything, like, it just really drove home for me. Like, Iñaki Godoy, excellent choice for this role. I'm really happy with the casting on this one. Emily Rudd is Nami as well. But yeah, like, really love the casting. I love the way that they messed with the camera angles here, or the different perspectives. Like, they give you the shot of Luffy looking through the telescope for a moment, and like, just one of the things, like, cinematically, I really enjoyed this live action. So we have, let's see, going forward from there. Yeah, Morgan's safe. Like, they find Morgan safe. Shout out to the fact that they have the world government emblem as the arrangement for the locks on it. I thought that was dope. Nice little touch. And then shortly afterward, like, shit hits the fan. Like, now there's an alert. They know that they're there. Morgan realizes that his keys are gone and everything. Nami's trying to crack the safe, but can't do it in time. So yeah, they end up having to, or Luffy ends up having to just ripped the damn thing out of the floor straight up. Like, and shout out to the way that they showed his just raw strength in this moment. Like, because that's another thing too. Like, people always think about the Gum Gum powers, but yeah, like Luffy also just has this crazy raw strength, and like that might have been added or supplemented, of course, by the devil fruit. But I feel like to a degree, now I don't know if he would have been ripping a safe out of the floor without the devil fruit, but like yeah, he was already pretty like strong in the first place. So yeah, he pulls the safe out of the floor. They jump out of the window, and this is the first moment that we see what I like to call the Luffy Express. Um, you'll see Luffy using his powers in different ways a whole lot, and that tends to include transporting crew members either willingly or against their will. And they tend to not enjoy that a whole lot. So let's see. Yeah, we go into the fight with the Marines here in the yard. I like the fight choreography. I'm digging it. And, again, we see the training from Emily Rudd, from Iñaki Godoy. They definitely did their work, Like, you can tell that they put their time into this. Like, shout out to the people who came up with the fight choreography. All of it. It looks really dope. Zoro comes in. And Zoro just kind of, for a moment, is like, I could just be out of here. Like, I could. He's right there at the door. And he's like, I could just leave. Like, this doesn't have to involve me. And I think this was a dope moment because it's like, we see him turn around. He's like, nope, you know what? Yeah, I'm in it. And here we have the first 3 crew members, or the not crew for the time being. But yeah, we have them versus Morgan here in the yard. Dope fight. Like, fairly true to the anime. Again, like they did a really great job, like in my opinion at least. Like I know that there are going to be people who, for whatever different reasons, aren't pleased or whatever, like, but hey, to me, I feel like they did a great job being true to the anime, having seen every single episode of this, with the exception of like some special episodes, I'll say. But yeah, I think as far as the canon, I think every single episode, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, really true to the anime here, I feel. The way that they had the fight, Luffy and Zoro going at it with Morgan for a minute. Like, Morgan, I love how quick they have Morgan, even though he's still got this big ass axe hand on. Because in the anime, like, he was a bit slower. He was kind of like bulky, slow, with his movements and everything. But I like the way that they sped him up here because it really helps with the fight choreography. It looks great. Like, it's a good dance, like a back and forth exchange between all these different characters. So shout out to that. So yeah, here gets real for a moment, like Zoro has Luffy hold up, and then we get to this moment where Luffy tells Zoro, he's like, okay, I go high, you go low. And we see for the first time, Zoro takes the bandana, puts it on his head, and we get 3-sword style. Yes, sir. Like, this is another one that I was like concerned about how they were going to do it and how it was going to look and everything, but I think they pulled it off well. I dig it. Like, man, just really impressive. Shout out. Like, McKenyu, like, looks great doing this. Again, you can tell that they care. Like, you can tell he cares. You can tell he put the effort, the work behind this. Like, nice little catapult off of Zoro's back for Luffy, right into Morgan's face after the first attack. Yeah, I dig it. Like, we got a nice little exchange. Zoro shuts that down. Boom, blade at the throat. Like, and it's the one that he has in his teeth, and I thought that was so dope. Get a Gum Gum Whip real quick. Shout out again to the CGI. The Gum Gum Whip looked great. I like the way that the powers look on this. We get Nami. She takes her tempo and contracts it, puts it back. I love how they, are making sure to like incorporate the tempo as well. Neighbors. All right. So yeah, love the way that they incorporated the tempo. And looking at the safe, Nami's like, let's find a rope or something. We're gonna have to find some way to haul it out of here, because she's like still, like this inhuman strength is still just like foreign to her. So she's like, she's not comprehending like what Luffy and Zoro are on, and Zoro just like picks it up. He's like, all right, let's bounce. So yeah, we get back to the boat and they're getting ready to set sail. We get the exchange that we saw in the trailer between Nami and Zoro. It's like, I don't work for you. Luffy's trying to ease the tension and everything. You know, not a crew. Like, love it. So, yeah, they're getting ready to bounce. Helmeppo comes out. He's got the blicks out. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's like, nah, you got me messed up. And he has this haircut that Zoro gave him because before he was like, are you going to kill me? He's like, no, I've got something much worse in mind for you. And then we see this fucked up haircut. And so, yeah, he's like, I'm taking you in, all that. And who do we see? Boom. Kobe with the sneak. Yes, Kobe with the, what? Like, Kobe, in just this short amount of time since meeting Luffy. And that's just one of the things. That's like the infectious power that is Monkey D. Luffy. Like, in this short period of time, Kobe went from like being Alvida's cabin boy or whatever and like just cowering or whatever and all that good stuff. And now, you know, he's sneaking the son of a Marine captain because he had his friends fucked up. Like, I love it. I love it. I love it. They get ready to, you know, they're saying their goodbyes and everything. Like, or, you know, farewell for now, I'll say. They express, like, Kobe's like, we might be enemies the next time we meet. Like, I'm going to follow my dream. I'm going to become a great Marine and all this, that, and the third. And yeah, Luffy's, he's like, we might be enemies the next time we see each other. Luffy's like, all right, but hey, for now, we're friends. We good. And they set out. Now, moving forward, we see the Straw Hats leaving. And who else but Garp on this big-ass, badass ship. I love the way that they did Garp's ship. This is so dope. We got the black sails. We got the Marine emblem, you know, HQ3. Assuming that that's, you know, like he works at headquarters because he's a Marine Admiral. And I'm guessing 3 is like the building that he works in, something like that. I can't quite remember that. I know there's significance, but it's escaping me right now. But yeah, so dope ship. Love the way that Garp's ship is looking here. We got the dog figurehead with the bone in his mouth. And, you know, we are going to, like, you know, representative, I feel, of the way that, you know, Garp is like a dog with the bone. And this may be something that's been discussed already, but, like, you know, I feel like it's like the dog with the bone thing as far as him and a target whenever he is dead set on going after somebody. Like, you know, he's not letting that go. And we get to see plenty of that here, right? Whenever he's focused on something, like, you know, there's no stopping Garp. So yeah, shout out to that real quick. Like, Garp is sitting in his office and we see the first Den Mushi. And I think that's so dope. Like, the way that they did these, I feel like that was dope. Love the fact they used Den Mushi and didn't like just turn it into phones or something like that. Yeah, like they, you know, got the beard and everything. Like, they made sure to go ahead with the thing with like the Den Mushi looks like or takes on the appearance of to some effect the person that owns it or uses it. So I like that. Man, Garp like looking real clean in his suit. And if I haven't, I may have already, but if I have not mentioned Garp, oh yeah, no, I did Vincent Reagan, yeah. So shout out to him, yeah. Like, love this Garp. Like, I really love this Garp. Okay. All right, so yeah, Garp gets a call in the Den Mushi, addresses that, and then we see none other than Bogard, who, you know, again, fans of the anime and manga will recognize. He is Garp's right hand man. Usually, when you see Garp, you're gonna see Bogard. Yeah, like, I love the fact they included Bogard, like, cause I feel like they, you know, it's one of those things. It's like if you wanted to, I feel like you probably could have made the story happen without him, like, or made this production happen without him. But they didn't do that. They went ahead and got my boy Bogard in there. The reference to, I believe, and you know, Oda does this a lot, or has done this a lot with characters in One Piece, and you'll get to see that if we, you know, get more than the one season. Hopefully, we will. But yeah, like, a lot of references to celebrities in different areas of real life. So Bogart being a reference to Humphrey Bogart, there. So yeah, like we got Bogart digging that. And this is basically, like Garp's like, all right. He finds out that they're talking about a pirate with a straw hat, and they stole a map to the Grand Line. And he's like, all right. Bogart, without a word, just knows what's up. He's like, all right, gotta get down to it. And after that, we get to meet Buggy. Kabaji is standing here and he's explaining things and everything. He's like, oh, like, talking about why he couldn't bring them in and all this, that, and the third. And we get to see Buggy for just this brief moment here. Love Buggy. Buggy played by Jeff Ward. And Kabaji, if I have not already said, played by Sven. Okay, so yeah, we get to see Buggy's bounty. And Buggy's bounty is a nice, cool little 15 million. All right. And I love the way that he swatched the wanted poster out of the way. Like, I love the way that we get different interactions with the wanted posters. We'll see a lot more of that as things progress. So yeah, and Buggy's, we get to see Buggy, and he's like, no matter who I have to kill, and he gives us the, the creepy clown. This is the clown, not the clown prince, that's the Joker. But yeah, like, this is the fearsome clown, the flashy one, the flashy fool, I believe, is what he calls himself in here. But yeah, we get to meet Buggy, and end episode, yo, like, this did not disappoint in the slightest. Like, this did not disappoint at all. I'm really, really happy with how this was done. One episode in, like, I mean, it didn't even take the whole episode, but yeah, just one episode in, like, I can see, like, how this was, I mean, of course, money, but a labor of love. Like, I feel like Oda making sure to have his hand on things the way that he did made all the difference in the world, because, there's no telling what we could have gotten if he had just, like, let them do it however they felt or whatever. So, yeah, really appreciate all the effort, the work, the research, the dedication that went into this production. Like, episode 1, aces, loving it. So, yeah, we're going to see more from Luffy and the Straw Hats. Still not a crew, but yeah, like, we're going to see more from Luffy and the Straw Hats going into episode 2. And that has been, so far, my review of episode 1 of the live action One Piece here on Anime Vision. This has been your boy, Nelson, Vision the First, whatever you would like to call me, as long as you don't call me broke. No. But so yeah, like, if you appreciated this, like the video, subscribe to the channel, show love. Got the Patreon link also if you want to make a donation, things like that. It definitely helps with getting stuff done. And hey, at the end of the day, I would like to be able to not have to go into somebody's kitchen, like, for however many hours a week. If I'm just being honest, I would like to be able to just do what I love, and supporting the channel does that. So shout out to you if you decide to. Love you still, even if you don't. But this has been Nelson, Vision First, and we out of here.